Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Oceanside. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, SFuels, and they're all new Zone Fuels. You can get a free sample below. And, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation, our first 30 years, we have now raised $177 million and sent out over 44,000 grants to challenged athletes in all 50 states, 73 countries, and in 105 different sports. Our next guest, the first time we got to chat, Kate Curran, who is from the UK and is a lawyer, professional triathlete. You do it all.
I try to, Bob. I do my best. But no, it's great to be here.
Well, such a treat. And so you started out like at 7, 8 years old, you were doing triathlon?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, I did my first triathlon age 7. Just loved it.
Yes.
And did it sort of through my
Just for
teenage years.
fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
just for fun. I got to a pretty high level, sort of qualified for European and world teams for the British team.
And what you were like as a junior?
Yeah, as a junior.
Okay.
And then I went to study at university and just took a break from triathlon.
Cambridge, not
Cambridge.
just any university. Cambridge, yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And became international lawyer?
Yes, yeah. That's I guess my first profession initially. I didn't think I'd come back to triathlon, but during COVID, I just needed a new challenge. I went to prior to COVID, I watched my dad do an Ironman, and I was
very fun.
Yeah, I was watching from the side, and I thought, I think I've still got some talent, some potential that I haven't explored in triathlon. So during COVID as well, it gave me another thing to do when we were all locked down. So I got back into triathlon and haven't looked back since.
That is so fun. So, but I'm guessing while you were in college and in law school, you're still swimming, biking, running, sort of as just for fitness?
Yeah, casually really. I didn't really swim. I didn't really bike. I mainly just
got some runs in there.
Yeah, I ran for my university. And then when I started working, I found that I was just sitting down a lot, and I was run commuting, but no structured training. I started training I did the London Marathon, and that sort of really inspired me. There? Oh, not very good, Bob. I would like to think I'd be faster now. But again, I was just doing things to keep fit, enjoy it. Nothing sort of competitive sport really, just doing it for myself.
Yeah.
But I think looking back now, it keeping a good level has helped me come back to the sport.
Right.
But yeah, with sport, I think you have to enjoy it. That's the number one. It doesn't matter what level you do it. So I always keep that in mind.
Well, if you were running a marathon, you're obviously you maintain fitness.
Yep.
Right. You were recreationally fit. You were ready to when you jump back in and you do 2 or 3 races in age grouper and qualify to be a pro?
Yeah, it happened very quickly. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. Me and my dad, the idea was we were going to do an Ironman together.
Yes.
I say together, but I was hoping to be
ahead
of him.
Yeah.
The Ironman never happened because of COVID, but I found that I got quite fit and I wanted to keep that fitness going.
Right.
So I started training and I entered a few 70.3s, did 2 as an age grouper, and then qualified for my professional license and thought, I just got to give it a go, really.
Well, and then this was your first year as a pro, 2023. 3rd at Denmark, 16th at 70.3 Worlds, first time out.
Yeah, there were sort of 2 highlights of last year. My first podium, as you say, at Denmark. That was a really good race. Really enjoyed that, and that qualified me for the Worlds. And as soon as I qualified, I just couldn't wait to get to Finland and get racing. And 16th at my first Worlds, I was really happy with that. I thought top 20 would be good. And 16th, I'll take that for my first one, and hopefully I can improve from there.
And when did you hook up with Paula Findlay and Eric Lagerstrom from That Triathlon Life?
Yeah, so for this year, I'll be racing for the TTL Devo team, as you say, run by Paula Findlay and Eric Lagerstrom. They've been amazing. I'm so proud to be part of this team.
They're always giving back. I just love what those guys represent.
Yeah. So they're mentoring me for the season, even for this race already. They've given me so much help, so much support and encouragement as well. I think that's really important when you're a new pro, finding your feet, to have Paula and Eric, who have raced at a very, very high level and continue to do so. It's amazing to just have someone that I can ask the questions, ask them, just for some advice. Exactly.
And even though you'll be competing with Paula on race day, she's still going to be cheering you throughout that race.
Yeah, and the whole TTL community, I think it's got a great ethos behind it.
Yes, it does.
It's very supportive. It helps people at different levels in the sport, which I think is really important. I race as an age grouper myself. I know how hard and demanding it is to maintain with a full-time job. So I think sort of communities like this are really important to people.
So when you say full-time job, are you still working full-time, or is it
I'm
little
working,
less?
Yeah, I'm working part-time now so that I can do the training that's required to compete at this high level. Yeah, it's a balancing act, but I think a lot of triathletes have something outside of triathlon to keep them busy, whether that's, Paul and Eric, they run a YouTube, they run the TTL.
Yep.
I look up to people like that who have something outside of triathlon because I think that's important.
I think it really is important because I know from talking to Paula and Eric, it can be a very selfish sport, right? Just going out, swim, bike, run, and I think those guys have realized that their videos have touched a lot of people who maybe got into the sport from watching their videos, and they've lost weight or they feel better about themselves, and then that solitary training isn't quite as selfish as you sometimes think it is.
Definitely. And as well, the knowledge they have as well. I was listening to the TTL podcast before I joined the team a long time ago, and I'd listen to it while I was walking to the pool in the morning at 5 a.m. And it's really surreal now to be part of the team. And when I listen to the podcast, I have another sort of connection to it now. But I always learn something new when I'm listening to it. When I'm watching the videos, the same again. So I'm really proud to be part of the TTL team.
That is very cool. So you did some ITU racing.
I did, yes.
11 starts, 3 podiums. Were you thinking that maybe Olympic, because GB is so loaded, potentially 2028?
No, I think my short course days were when I was a junior, really.
Yes.
I think the longer distance suits me.
Yes.
As I say,
especially with your job and everything. Yeah.
Well, I think even just my strengths as a triathlete, the short course racing, I loved it when I was growing up, but I think, especially when I came back to the sport, now I'm older, it was nice just to come back to something that was different.
Right.
I had sort of no expectations. And I love to watch the short course racing. I think, as you say, GB, we have a phenomenal sort of roster of talent. But for me personally, for racing, I like the 70.3 distance. Obviously, we've got the T100 coming through now. So I love to watch those races and would love to take part in one of those myself.
Well, and you're in a perfect era between Challenge and between T100 and Ironman and 70.3. You don't need to do a full Ironman. You can focus on that middle distance and build a nice career, especially since you're already a lawyer and you have a real job and a real passion at the same time.
Sure. I think, at this stage of my triathlon career, I'm keen to try anything, whether that's going longer, shorter, we'll see. But as I said at the beginning, it's important to enjoy what you're doing. I enjoy my training.
Yes.
How can you not enjoy being in a place like this for racing? So, I'm in a good place.
So is this your first time to California?
It is. My first time to the US.
Oh! What are your thoughts?
It's beautiful.
It's pretty fun, huh?
Yeah, I watched the stream of this race last year, and I thought, I really want to be there next year.
Yes.
So,
and here you are.
Yeah, especially being part of the TTL team this year. It was a good way to sort of tie things together.
Right.
Just delighted to be here.
That is so cool. And so now you watched it last year. You got out and played in the ocean a little bit and ride and run. What do you think of the course?
Yeah. Sort of just trying to get a feel for the race as much as I can. I think the sea swim is going to be really important to the race. It might break things up a little bit more than just sort of a simple flat lake swim, for example. The bike course I haven't seen much of yet because it's obviously in Camp Pendleton. But the run course, I think that should suit me really well. It's nice open stretches. You can get into a good rhythm.
Yes, you can.
There's some steep sections.
There are on the bridge here. Yep. You're going up and down. Yes.
So going to have to dig deep when I go along those, I think.
I like it. And so how many races do you think you're going to do this year?
We'll see. I think for me with racing, I like to focus on doing a small number and doing them as well as I possibly can. Races are draining, they're exhausting, and you have to sort of take a break from the training. So at this stage in my career, I'm trying to just build a solid foundation. And when I turn up to a start line, I really want to be there, be ready to go. So last year I raced sort of 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
Maybe I do a couple more this year. I'll see how the season pans out.
Well, you think about it, you did 5 half marathons. That's
it's tough on the body.
Your typical elite runner is not running, not doing 5, 6, 7 half marathons. I think sometimes our triathletes go, oh well, it's not a full Ironman. What's a big deal? They take something on you.
Everyone's different, but for me, I think it's really important to take care of your body, respect the boundaries, and just keep the consistency going. So, I'd rather race fewer times and do them really well than just race again and again and lose the quality.
So will you stay in the States after this race or go right back home?
Yep. So obviously it's a long trip here. So
I was going to say, if you're here, you might as well do something else.
Yep. So after this, I'll head to St. George.
Oh, nice. So will you go from here and go train in St. George then?
No, I have an exciting few weeks coming up. So I'll go from here in Oceanside, and then I'm going to go back and train with Paula and Eric in Oregon, in Bend.
Up in Bend. Good for you.
I can't wait for it.
That's going to be really fun. And then are they both going to St. George?
I'm not sure on their plans, but I thought I'm here for a while, so I'd like to see different parts of America, see which areas are good for training and so on, so make the most of it.
And in terms of your job, you can do that remotely?
I work on a fairly flexible basis.
Okay.
I take sort of property. I work in property, so I take deals as and when they come up.
Right.
But while I'm here in the States, the focus is on racing and training.
And your employers are excited about your journey?
I think so, yeah. They've been very supportive. My colleagues are always supporting me and saying, keep it up, keep it going. But, law is a demanding profession. So I also, they admire me for doing my triathlon, but I admire them because, everyone's working really hard when you're a lawyer. It's tough. Clients expect a lot.
They expect 24/7. They expect you to be there whenever they need you.
But rightfully so. But,
of course. Was there one when you first got back? You just did a couple of 70.3s to qualify as a pro. The first one that you did, which one was that, and how'd you do? Was that Denmark? No.
My first one as a professional.
No, I'm sorry, as an age grouper.
As an age grouper, Lanzarote.
Oh my God! You start out with the toughest one around.
It was tough, but I go to Lanzarote all the time for training.
Okay.
It's a haven for triathletes.
Yes, it
I've
is.
been going there since I was really young, so
wow,
it was almost obviously not a home race, but it felt like a home race because I know the roads and sort of the island very well.
The road. I was there for Ironman Lanzarote in the early 2000s, and it was like. There was like one road, right? And I loved the fact that all the houses, if you face the ocean, you could have blue shutters, but otherwise you had green shutters.
Yep.
Every house looked exactly the same.
Yep.
That is a crazy place.
I love that island. To prepare for this race, I based myself in Lanzarote for a month for a training camp. Because I thought, coming to Oceanside, I need to be ready, I need to be strong, and I think Lanzarote is the place to go if you want to become fit and strong.
With the climbing you have here, you certainly mimic that at Lanzarote.
I think so.
Yeah, it's very similar. But the thing about climbing there is it's not often you climb into a headwind. Right? In Lanzarote, you everywhere you go is headwind, right?
Yeah, but I think the wind is part of it. That's what makes you really strong when you're training out there. A lot of the top triathletes base themselves there for training.
Have you seen Lucy out there? And
I have, yes, yeah. I look up to her a lot. She's obviously one of the top Brits, world champion. Follow her journey, and as a lot of people are, a big fan.
So before you got back into the sport, were you watching video and listening to podcasts on the sport?
Yeah, that's the thing.
You've always been a fan.
Yeah, I stopped triathlon, but things just pulled me back, whether that's just, watching sort of girls I used to race as a junior. I was then seeing them on TV and building their careers, which was really inspiring to see, really motivating. And things like that just made me think, maybe I didn't explore my potential. Maybe I stopped a bit too soon. I've always stayed in touch with triathlon in various ways. Actually went in Lanzarote, I worked there as a sports instructor for during the summer when I was studying. I'd always see triathletes out there training, and just as I said, I kept fit and kept interested in the sport, and eventually I thought I'd like to compete in it again.
So when you were doing the ITU races with 11 starts and 3 podiums, was that when you were like a junior?
Yes.
Okay, so those were junior races, and you were ranked 75th or something back then.
Yeah.
So but listen, you have to make a decision. I can go to Cambridge and go to law school. That's a forever.
Yeah. I think as soon as I had my interview and I was selected to go to Cambridge, I thought that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Absolutely.
I'd studied really hard for it, and I had the intention of keeping triathlon going while I was there, but I just had to make a choice.
Real. Yeah, it's not. It's hard. That's too hard a balance.
Yeah, some people maybe could manage it, but just for me, it wasn't the right moment to do to both things.
But now is.
Now is, yeah. Now I have the freedom and the motivation to do it, and I think those two things have to come together.
Well, the nice thing is, because you have a real profession, the pressure isn't like people who are racing for for basically to pay their rent, it's different going to that start line where they know if I don't perform well, I'm sort of screwed here. For you, you can enjoy yourself, and obviously you're not going to not want to go and win a race or not want to go push yourself, but at the same time, it's not everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that to an extent. But obviously being part of something like the TTL team, that's given me some extra support for this season.
You want to perform?
Yeah, I want to perform. It's, I'm not necessarily in the sport for the money, but I need to win prize money to pay my way along, like any athlete does. But yeah, I'm just here to race as hard as I can. And if that gets me some money, perfect.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to see where your journey goes this year. This is going to be really fun to watch.
I can't wait to.
And you've stayed healthy so far.
Yes, yeah, I feel in good form. As I say, I went to Lanzarote, had a good trip there. This is the first race of the season, so
Yes.
I'd like to start it off well, but it's a long year ahead.
Who are you working with as a coach, or are you coaching yourself?
No, I have a fantastic training group based on the South Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my coach is called Glenn Cook, and we also have an assistant coach called Steve Clark. Yeah, I'm really lucky to have a very supportive system at home.
Glenn Cook is exceptional. He was a top pro for a lot of years.
Yeah, but very modest as well. If you ask
Very
him about
modest.
it,
No, he doesn't talk about it. No, but he's a talent.
Yeah, and also a fantastic coach himself. Athlete
Wonderful.
and coach.
Well, please give him my best.
I will,
haven't
of course.
seen that guy in years. And Kate, thanks so much for taking time.
Thank you for having me, Bob.
Have a great race on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
All right. Again, that is Kate Curran, and she is going to be racing for the first time here first time in the U.S.
Yes.
I love that. Again, Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. Hold on. We will be right